What's going on, guys? Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking us on out. Breaking news coming across from Mike McDaniel's Monday press conference. Tua Tagovailoa has been placed in concussion protocol, and his status is in doubt now for this upcoming week against the New England Patriots. Teddy Bridgewater going to get the majority of the snaps, and huge bummer. I mean, just an absolute crusher for the Miami Dolphins. This could, by theory, be his third concussion based on probably had one against the Bills, had a very scary one against the Cincinnati Bengals, and now seemingly suffering one against the Green Bay Packers. And this is crazy. So this was going around yesterday. There was this video from, the guy who pointed it out was a guy named Michael Williams at Selfmade0602, and he had pointed out this play where Tua, he said he was at the game live, this is the Tua dump off to Durham Smythe in the first half of the game, where Tua was wrapped up and basically swung down to the ground, very similar against what happened to him on Cincinnati, banged his head on the play later. It would have been a fumble to Raheem Mostert. And then, they don't really get the ball back again until the second half. Obviously, the second half, he did not play like the guy that we saw in the first half. So was this a case of Tua Tagovailoa, suffering symptoms of a concussion and not, playing physically up to what he was able to? That's going to be a tough one to determine for a lot of reasons. We have seen him suffer some. We saw in the Bills game this year, he was able to suffer a pretty scary hit, come back and perform for Miami. But this one, this has been now a recurrent thing for him so far this year. It's a scary thing, head trauma, and he is, had one of the scarier incidents this year. Remember, the Dolphins had to deal with this. The aftermath of it with investigations and, people wanting the Dolphins to have charges on them, people wanting Tua to press charges on the Dolphins, and spotters and new rules and all these types of things. So all these things that apparently were in place. Now, again, I don't know that this is the play that this happened. This was a theory that was working around the internet. And, this is tough for a couple reasons. One, because you come into this year and you want to know a couple of things with Tua. You want to know, is he capable of being your franchise quarterback? Is he capable of winning these big games? And you also want to know about his durability, which has obviously been a big area of concern. And so you don't go about a Monday show. And we did the radio show today, and, somebody had brought this to our attention and be like, well, do you buy it? Like, should we buy into this? Should we or does it sound like excuse making? Does it sound like you're trying to give Tua a pass for what was undoubtedly his worst game of the season, in just the most critical spot? But this and other people in Dolphins Twitter and the atmosphere who pointed this out, I guess keen eye on them to be able to recognize this snapback motion. This hasn't been that blunt force, head-to-head thing that other guys have done. Tua seems to have this thing where, he gets that head whiplash onto the back of the head, and this has been the three incidents now, because you think about getting shoved against Buffalo, getting ragdolled against Cincinnati, and then similar in this play with Green Bay, if this is the play. That back of the head has just been such a dangerous spot for him when he gets snapped down like that. And he's not the biggest guy in the world. This is one of the things where you talk about the way he plays, how he's talked about how he has to, maneuver the line to have the anticipation, to be on point with his receivers, because he's just not physically tall. He's not, as it's been pointed out, the strong, statured, tall statured quarterback. And, is also not the heaviest guy in the world. He's not a Josh Allen who, you need a Mack truck to bring down. And this is just so unfortunate, man. Like, all in all, out of all of this, debate for another day about what this means for his legacy, what this means for him going forward as the Dolphins quarterback. One, I, greedily hope like hell that he's able to, heal up, hopefully start this Sunday, because that's ultimately the Dolphins' best opportunity to win. You hope also that he's going to be okay and that this isn't something that is going to hinder his career, because now we're talking 3 head incidents in one season. Like, how many of those can a guy take, especially when you had one that basically, shut down his body and put his joints involuntarily into other directions and things like that. And, this the thing is, like, the guy has just been so class in the way that he's handled everything all year and has been so fun to root for all year. And yeah, all insanely pissed off about, the way that the game unfolded and the way that the team has been playing. But the guy has been so easy to root for, and I think everybody has kind of gotten around him. You have noticed that by the Pro Bowl votes. You have noticed that by the way the fan base treats him. You have noticed that by the way his teammates care about him. And out of all ways, you would have liked, if this is a case where Tua cannot play this week and by the end of the year because you don't want to risk what's going on with his head, to think that that's how it gets to end this year. Like, he's not going to get that. If he doesn't get that chance at redemption, he doesn't get that chance to see this whole season through after, for the most part, this has been his best season by far. This has been, he has developed in a lot of ways. He has gotten better in a lot of ways. And if this gets taken away because of a hit, it just really sucks, man. It really sucks, and it feels unfair because, you would like to get a chance to bounce back from the adversity, which is, and as any Dolphin fan would tell you, like, cool with Teddy Bridgewater, like, you respect a veteran who's been around, but, like, if you really had to ask every Dolphin fan, hey, who do you want going into New England next week, Tua Tagovailoa or Teddy Bridgewater, you got to be some kind of staunch hater to say I'd rather have Teddy starting, because we've seen what it looks like when the other quarterback starts for the Miami Dolphins. And while, yeah, it was a disastrous ending in that game, there were also flashes and there were also great execution. And we have seen that this guy still has the ability to make explosive plays happen for this Dolphins team. And this is just, this is just really troubling that this is going down again, and that they find themselves in a spot where Tua is again in concussion protocol. It's really, really, really tough to see this. And I guess props to the Dolphins with the keen eye who saw this early on in the game, where things and also in a time where, like, listen, this is a play where it feels like a nothing play, because you're cruising, everybody's drunk on the good football, everybody is feeling okay, and you don't really think about it. And then it's just like all this stuff unravels and be like, oh yeah, you remember that play that was just in the second quarter where Tua just got ragdolled, and then we moved on to the next play and he played the rest of the game. Like, that's that also just kind of speaks to, also, if this did mess with him, like, his toughness and all that stuff. But this is a crazy thing to have this many obvious head injuries. I shouldn't say obvious, because obviously it wasn't caught yesterday, but to have this many head injuries happen on such similar, head snapback whiplash plays, these are things that are just always going to happen in the game. And yeah, you do wonder, like, is the guy going to be able to withstand a career? Not just a matter of, is he a franchise guy? Is he the answer? Can this guy do this for a living? Can he be in this dangerous sport with people way bigger than him, with the Christian Wilkins of the world bearing down on his neck and throwing him around willy-nilly? Can he do that and get through a season? Because, yeah, that's part. It's not only that so much has been made about the mental aspect of it and all the stuff that he had to battle with Brian Flores and people having support and the confidence, but can he physically hold up? And I think for that, people probably thought, like, okay, dinged up knee, dinged up hip. This is the head, and this is probably the scariest thing we dealt with. And some people look at this like in a renegade fashion, like a Joe Burrow, who has been like, oh, listen, I haven't, I don't think about the long-term things of concussions. We get paid handsomely for it. That just is what it is. But, this is, we've seen the scary elements of this. This dude just had a kid very, very recently as a young family that he's looking to develop, and really, really just a horrible thing. So, for him, you hope that he can recover from this okay. And look, maybe this is one of those things where they're just being overcautious, and maybe he is able to play this week. I don't know, but it is a unfortunate, scary thing to see that Tua is now once again in concussion protocols, and has to deal with this issue once again this season.